What happened to the Southern Water Tribe? The Southern Water Tribe didn't always look like a handful of tents in the snow. In fact, it used to be a vibrant village, busy, developed, and filled with powerful benders. So what happened? How did it go from looking like this to this? Let's break it down. Was the Southern Water Tribe always this small? We actually get a clear look at the old Southern Water Tribe during Hama's flashback. Back then, the village was very well developed. We're talking large igloos, walls, watchtowers, sturdy docks, completely different from what Sokka was working with in order to defend the village.
Oh man!
It honestly looked like a smaller yet thriving version of the Northern Water Tribe. So why doesn't the Southern Water Tribe look like the thriving village we saw in Hama's flashback? I'm glad you asked. The Fire Nation happened. Here's the quick chain of events that led to the downfall of the Southern Water Tribe. 1. The Fire Nation felt threatened by the Waterbenders' power. 2. Because of that threat, they captured the Southern Waterbenders one raid at a time. And 3. And once the Benders were gone, the non-Benders eventually left for war, leaving the village vulnerable. So let's break down the first major point. The Fire Nation was threatened by the Water Tribe. First off, Waterbenders were a serious military problem for them. They could free ships.
Oh, what is that? A Fire Navy ship, and a very bad memory for my people.
Block fleets. And honestly, they could really kick some Fire Nation butts. Fire Nation also understood the Avatar cycle. From Sojin's flashback, we learned that he knew the next Avatar would be an air nomad. So he wanted to attack the air temples before the Avatar could even grow up. Using that same logic, if Aang had died, the next Avatar would have been born to the Water Tribe. So weakening the Southern Water Tribe was just a strategic move on behalf of the Fire Nation. And yes, the Fire Nation wanted to attack the Northern Water Tribe too, but in Zhao's own words,
"The Water Tribe is a great nation. There's a reason they've survived 100 years of war. The frozen tundra is treacherous. The landscape itself is an icy fortress."
So the Southern Tribe became the easiest target, and the Fire Nation took full advantage of that. Let's look at the second major point. Because the Fire Nation felt threatened, they started capturing Southern Waterbenders one raid at a time. Hama explains this perfectly.
They came again and again, each time rounding up more of our waterbenders and taking them captive.
During that raid, the village was still fairly well developed. Only people left to defend the tribe were the non-bender men like Katara and Sokka's dad, Hakoda. But even after the Fire Nation thought they captured all of the waterbenders, they came back one last time. Why? Because they got a tip that one more waterbender was still left. Little Katara. Third major point. The non-bender men eventually leaving for the war. This was another major hit for the Southern Water Tribe. As the war continued, all the adult men, including Katara and Sokka's dad, Hakoda, left to fight in the war. That meant the people left behind were mostly children, women, and the elderly. With no waterbenders left and no male adult warriors, the tribe simply couldn't maintain the kind of village it used to be. So what replaced it? Simple tents and handmade huts. At the time of the last raid, Katara was roughly 8 years old, and by the time they met Aang, they were around the age of 14, 15. So it appears that the decline of the Southern Water Tribe's infrastructure happened within the span of 10 years. And if the Southern Water Tribe wasn't down bad already, the Fire Nation rolled up one more time. But this time it wasn't a full raid like before. It was Zuko bulldozing down what remained of the village wall, all in search of the Avatar. Zuko blasts half the village, and Sokka tries to fight him with what was basically a boomerang in pure confidence. You really have to give him his props though. The math wasn't mathing, but the effort was there. Although the Southern Water Tribe suffered heavy damage to their village, their people, and their spirits, they never gave up hope. They played a major role in the 100-Year War, from the men leaving to fight in the war to Katara and Sokka helping Aang along his Avatar journey. In the comics and in The Legend of Korra, where the Southern Water Tribe grows into a thriving nation once more. Their buildings may have changed, their culture evolved, but their resilience, that's what remained the same.